Like, don't at me.
Don't at me. Goddamn. Don't at me. Don't at me.
So come on. Hey, that shit, hey, man, yo, like,
Let's
that shit was
Snoop, Pharrell.
hell yeah. Snoop and Pharrell is a killer combination.
Speaking of Pharrell,
Beautiful.
speaking of Pharrell, like, did y'all know that he's not working with Kid Cudi anymore because of that last album that he produced, the Passion Demon and Demon Slaying or whatever album that was?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, he actually
I
produced
know
the
that,
album and didn't do well. He's like, yeah, I'm not fucking with you because they didn't make enough money.
What?
Yeah, me and Sharon was talking about that shit like this past weekend. That shit's wild.
Well,
we could probably got we can say that for another topic. We gotta discuss that.
I was surprised still. Petty?
don't at me.
Dang.
Episode 43, since we didn't toss to it yet. If y'all are wondering, no, it's not Durant. I got the Westbrook on, the old school.
Hey,
Running out of actual jerseys. Now I got the jersey tees. I got some in the closet I could bust out, some old ones.
Jersey.
Yes, sir. Docket number 43. We got a couple of good topics today. First one is a bit of an announcement. Chance, you have something. I mean, people have probably already seen it before, but I'll just let you jump into it, man.
People that like, probably like follow me on Facebook or friends on Facebook or follow me on Twitter or, Instagram or anything, close friends and shit, definitely know. But yo, man, I'm doing something that's probably like the most craziest shit I've ever done. I've done a lot of crazy shit. But today I like kind of officially started my campaign, man. I'm running for Congress. For the 18th Congressional District of Texas.
Good shit.
And it's today is my 90th. I got 90 days to the election. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to do this thing. I'm actually self-producing, shot completely through iPhone and just footage from like Instagram stories and shit like that. We're just gonna mash it all together, kind of documentary style. And it's called 90 Day Candidate, just like like 90 Day Fiance, some shit like that. So I don't know, man. And I'm gonna sell it regardless, win or lose after the election. So hopefully, that works out and shit. But I mean, I don't know. I'm actually confident that I can actually win this thing. Like, it's crazy, man, because I'm going against the establishment Democrat. She's 70 years old. It's her 13th term. She's in her 13th term right now. She's been in there 25 years, since 1995. I mean, that's that's literally since we've been in school and out. You know what I mean? That's most of our lives and shit. So it's, and she's actually a personal friend of mine, and my mom. You know what I'm saying? It's no hard feelings. It's not like I'm trying to I'm against her and her politics. I feel like I can pick up wherever she left off. I mean, obviously she's been in there for so long. People are satisfied with her, but she's 70. It's time for a young nigga to get in there. And it's me. So I actually start creating socials and things like that. We'll link them in the episode notes and all that stuff. So look out for it. My campaign is called A Chance for Texas. So if you live in the 18th Congressional District of Texas, which is most of urban Houston, not the burbs and shit like that, then y'all be my constituents. So you know what I'm saying? If there's some issues y'all want me to get done, you know what I'm saying? I'll be that dude in Washington, representing you in the House of Representing. You know what I mean? But yeah, so support that. You know what I'm saying? I got a little Osty right here, so I'm a get it started. I wish I was here with me to pull up, but fuck it.
I was gonna say, man, I'm proud of you, bro. Congrats. I know you're gonna do extremely well. You got us behind you, backing you, full support. So just let us know how we can support you.
Right? Yeah, because I know everybody can't vote. Everybody can't vote for me because I'm, they may not live in my district or some shit like that. But if you live in the hood, most likely you're in my district. So I'm gonna be going around. I'm gonna be on my feet, man. Either riding my bike. Once I get my materials, I kind of start designing little posters and things like that. And I got help with other artists. I'm outsourcing all my friends. I'm not spending more than $420 on this campaign, and And hey, if y'all want some of that, hey, who else will get that done? So y'all, hey, vote for me.
So speaking of voting, something we've all talked about before. Look, we don't get into politics much, right? And we're not going to get into politics per se. Here's the problem with politics. Politics has become reality TV. It always has been, people literally campaign, like a marketing campaign. You're making propaganda basically saying that the other side sucks. Your side is good. Muckraking really took over in the 1900s, 20th century. It's always been a strategy, right? But that's the problem with the way it is today. The way it is today is it's very people-centric, instead of focusing on the problems and focusing on the actual issues at hand and how people want to address that. We have this black and white, and I say that, figuratively in the sense of, it's right, left, this or that, right or wrong. There's no room for the middle, the gray area, and that's a problem altogether. My biggest problem with the way that we get things done is the system, the electoral college. There's all kind of different things, a lot of different problems with politics. I think we can have a fair political conversation that has nothing to do with people and just talks about the system without ruffling any feathers. Would you agree? I'm sure that you're pretty unbiased and we're just talking about the system itself, right?
Definitely. I agree. And I just think that the system is fucking flawed. That's my opinion on that. I think the way we've been doing like the whole presidency stuff is not working. It hasn't been working. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. We can get deeper into it like a little bit later. I'll let you finish, teeing everything up.
That's really the tee up, man. It's I guess the question is, a couple of different issues that stand out to me. One thing is the electoral college. I'm with you. I think that's batty, bonkers, zoinks, whatever you want to say. Then you look at the presidency itself. It's one person, okay, one leader. It's not necessarily royalty or anything like that, but you're entrusting the country, but really the company.
It really is
the company's image in one person, right. So that's another topic. But we'll just start off with wherever. Jock, you had a couple of things in mind. We'll start there.
So my thing is with that, I was watching the Patriot Act on this too, and I suggest you guys watch that because it's a lot of good information. But they're saying that we should, as far as actually voting, that we should actually have a ranked voting system.
I actually learned about that. It's tier voting or ranked voting.
Right. So you get more than one choice.
Yeah, you get more than one choice.
Right, which is good.
It's like by percentages. I just learned about that last week.
Right, exactly. And I think that shit is dope. I think we should go more towards that because that to me, that's like a fairer way of actual voting. Because look at Hillary and Trump, right? Didn't she won like the popular votes, correct? My understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the electoral, Trump, of course. And then we're the only place in the world that actually when we do our debates and everything, we're going against each other, bro. I feel like I'm watching a reality show sometimes. You know what I mean? It's very I know it's entertaining, but it's damn, these are people that's going to be running our country, acting like this. So I just think, man, the ranked voting system is something that we should actually lean more towards of doing. And you guys that's listening and watching, look that up, so you can kind of see more what I'm talking about. But that's something that I think that needs to happen.
Yeah. One thing I was definitely going to say was, as far as the debates, the mudslinging can kind of get kind of tacky. Considering we are the only people that do that, that does look kind of bad on our part.
Yeah, it looks real bad.
You're not saying I'm right for these reasons. You're saying that person's wrong for those reasons, and more so saying they're just the lesser of the two evils.
Right.
Yeah, and it's always like that. And as you said, Mike, you said it's black and white, but it's actually since 2000, it's been red and blue. It's literally Bloods and Crips right now, and that's how I've been telling the people that like the leaders or whatnot that, or just anyone that I've talked to that I've like, that have been strangers, and I've kind of, just been like, hey, well, the people around my neighborhood, especially because I know that they live in my district and shit. Like, I'm running like, fucking Democrats and Republicans, left and right, liberal, conservative. It's literally Bloods and Crips right now. Like, I mean, like you said, there's one side or the other. Like, there's no one in the middle. There's no one in the middle right now, and that's why I'm running as an independent, because like I feel like I can't, like, I'm very leaning liberal. I guess you would say on the liberal conservative scale. But like I have a lot of conservative values, like a lot of them. A lot of black people do, like just period, like without even knowing. But you think because Democrats and Republicans are not the same as liberal and conservative. It's like you put those each in a box together. You know what I'm saying? But it's not the same thing. But like I was saying, like I got a lot of conservative values. It's like I'm a 2A supporter. You know what I'm saying? Like. Fucking illegal immigration, like I mean, like in the workforce, that's horrible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have like, and I really didn't kind of understand this shit until like this past like week or whatever. But I kind of started like a lawn business with like my little homies and shit, like my little YGs that I hang out with and shit, play basketball with. Like one of them brought me a lawnmower and everything. Like we like really like started a business, and I'm also managing them rapping too. So y'all look out for them. You know what I'm saying? Fano and
Trey.
But like, dude, like so I cut a few yards on my street, and I've asked my neighbors, I'm like, hey, if you if you don't want to, who cuts your yard? And they'll be like, oh, so and so. They'll be like, oh, the Mexican guys or something, shit like that. And like they didn't show up this past week because it was like raining or whatever. But like these yards, they look horrible. You know what I'm saying? And no one's came like to pick it up during the week. And so I'm like, yo, well, I'll cut it. And if you got someone 65 or older in your household, I'll cut it for free, just like Social Security. Because I'm trying to get that community service as well. You know what I'm saying? And like two people like next to me like kind of turned me down. It's like, oh no, we're just gonna stick with the guys that we have. It's like, dude, like. So you got some guy that's willing to cut your shit right now for free, like because both of them like have like people older. You know what I'm saying? You rather keep paying somebody to like do that shit when I could do it. I see your yard every day. You know what I'm saying? It's across the street from my house. Like they don't, you would rather keep paying those guys who like really like they're not even supposed to be working. You know what I'm saying? And I know this sounds bad and shit like that because like I believe that like, everyone should have a chance and shit. But you're paying these people cash because they can't. They're illegal, literally. They're not even supposed to be working here, And like, so I like on that side of that, like it just hit me. Like it's fucked up. That like, you know what I'm saying? Like, me and three other kids, you know what I'm saying, are trying to like just help out,
You want to know that you know what you're doing first too, though.
Well,
like, man,
but I mean, like, it's not like I didn't cut 3. It's not like I didn't cut like 4 yards and like they see it. It's not like I cut like shitty. You know what I'm saying? Like it's right there in their face. I'm just getting started, and I offered it for free. So it's like, but I understand though, like you don't cut into business and things like that.
And my thing is too, man. Like just keep doing what you're doing, bro. Like try, explain to people like what you're doing. You're running, which is pretty dope. Once again, shout out to Chance. But just keep, explaining to people, and then over time, kindness, man, kill them with kindness,
Oh, no, for sure. And, like, what's crazy is, dude, like, you won't believe that, like, the people who, like, I would think would be like, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, shit, like, for real? They're like, oh, dude, like, that's dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and because, like, they know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, a lot of people, they don't talk about politics, but they follow it. Because it has to deal with them, like especially like smart people, like a lot of dumb people don't follow it. I can tell y'all a story about that I ran into, but that's something I'll do off the air because like it was fucking crazy. But yeah, man, that's where I am with that.
Yeah,
Gerry, where you at on all this?
My political dreams were crushed early in the year when my candidates were already out.
Yeah,
and I believe even off air, like me and Jock had a conversation. He was like, "Well, I guess Biden's left," and I remember like around that I was like, "Yeah," like around early voting. I was like, "I guess he'll get my vote," but it's like the lesser of two evils, like even with Hillary. So
Yeah,
which is why I do believe that like there should be more parties. There needs to be more independents that are stepping up. So I think that's awesome. So it's great.
yeah, definitely.
I'm with that.
Gary, that was a good point you brought up. But the whole Democrat, Republican, it just meant to keep us divided.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
divide and conquer. That's what's been working for years, you know? And we got to stop doing that. So once again, like, yeah, we need more independence. We need to focus on like more of, you know, people like Chance that's in the world. It's actually running, that's out here with the people, that knows what we're going through. It's actually for the people, because let's be real, man. None of these presidents are really for the people. I know Barack.
No, I mean, in the House, senators, like, dude, I mean, Mitch McConnell has 500 pieces of like bills on his desk that they haven't done shit with in like 3 years.
Right. And Barack, I know he did a lot, but his only thing that he really did was like legalizing like gay marriage. Like really, you know, like if you think about it, that's his like stamp on everything, you know, but like did he really help the people?
He got us health care, but they fucked that up.
Yeah, the Obamacare. Yeah. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot of work we have to do. It's very, very deeply rooted, you know, but I think that's the problem in itself, man. Democrats, Republicans. Even
Right.
Addison said that, bro. He's like, you know, if we divide into like a two-party system, that's gonna ruin like this country.
Dude, and with that, with the two-party system thing, when I was registering with the FEC, y'all should see how many fucking parties there are that are registered as, you know what I'm saying, like actual fucking parties. You know, like you choose them. It's like La Raza and all this shit like that. But none of them ever fucking get in because like the machines of like the Democratic National fucking Party and the fucking Republic, like, I mean, it's huge. Like, dude, before Republicans kind of came about, there were the Whigs and the Federalists, and you know what I'm saying, like all that shit. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. Like it's in 2000, we didn't start mapping the shit like to the red and blue. You know, like the Al Gore, George Bush. You know, like that had the recount and shit like that. That's when we started mapping red and blue. Those colors
like a sporting event. Watching that shit.
I think that was because it took like a whole month to decide the winner. So,
dude, like, yeah, that shit was fucking crazy. I mean, I don't know, and like I said, I'm running as an independent, like because we need more independent like thinkers. Like, we don't need people that are like in the pockets of like parties or of corporations and shit like that. Like, seriously, I think that like all fucking like politicians that like are like bought or like lobby for like, you know, certain companies, like they should like on their fucking whatever they wear, they should look like fucking NASCAR drivers. You know what I'm saying? Like with all like the like they should look like that. Like, I mean, I don't. Yeah, have y'all ever seen Idiocracy?
I was watching that yesterday. Last night I watched that.
Dude, like that is where we're going, like with, you know what I'm saying, as we're going. Like, but if there's people,
I watched it. I was like, I haven't seen it since it came out, or maybe a couple years after it came out.
Like 05 and shit like that.
Yeah, I think me and Mike were working at the movies when it came out.
It's like 05, 06 or something like that, I believe, actually.
Either way, it's scary accurate, you know. And I think that when you have this, you know, Republican, Democrat, you know, and even to another extent, just presidency itself, like when you have just two individuals running against each other, you're gonna take out everything that you can to try to win, you know. But the thing with that is, every time, you know, you always kind of, you know, people overcorrect, right? You overcorrect. So if you have this character here, the next person's going to be somebody wildly different, right? So once that gets a little bit more and more and more extreme, then that's when you get people like Kanye not even running, but possibly, I'm not saying he's going to win, you know, in 2020, but who's going to be president in 2024, 2028? You know, usually you see some of these candidates in, you know, grooming, you know, over time. I mean, look at the well right now. These are the best two options we've got. So I don't know what the answer is, but I mean, I know that as long as we have this two-party system, as long as we're entrusting really the entire country's well-being or image in one person acting as kind of the poster boy or girl or whatever phrase is the right way to even say that nowadays for the country, I think we're always going to have these problems.
Or even just one of two factions. You know what I'm saying? Like with like, you know, Democrats and with Republicans, because they always got their boy or their girl, you know what I'm saying? But it's either or. It's never nothing, you know what I'm saying? There's never any, like, there's You know, remember when what was the guy he used to run all the fucking time?
Ralph
Ross
Nader?
Yeah, or yeah, Nader. Like, you know, like there's we don't
Ross
have
Perot.
we don't have like any of those. You know what I'm saying anymore? You know, it's weird. Like I remember Jill Stein being like, you know, in 2016 being like kind of a hopeful. Or you know what I'm saying? It's like no one's gonna fucking vote for Jill Stein just because she's like Green Party. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's like no, we got to go with the red or the blue. Like we can't. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and it's weird too when you see those identities. They make sense when companies or certain companies align with them. When you look at, okay, if you're in these brackets, you get these kind of breaks and this kind of stuff and this, that, and the other. It makes a certain amount of sense. But the problem is when it gets deeply engraved and you start seeing it almost pushed as agendas.
Right.
I mean,
it's always
you
a
can see that at universities. I mean, so left, hardcore left. I mean, everything you're hearing is just pushing you left, 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 left. Nobody can really deny that, you know, and the professors are just shamelessly like, yeah, I'm, you know, over here and, you know, left, left. You know, then you go to certain companies. My last job, you know, is a private company. So, hey, just about anything goes. There was, they had this thing back in, I guess it was 2012. Yeah. Where they were basically like, you know, I guess they thought about it, like we got a lot of young people working here between, you know, 21 and 24, 25. They don't know what the hell's going on.
A bunch of lefties.
So they kind of had like this little like you know, seminar or whatever that you can go to just to kind of hear about like what's going on. And I mean, it was just like shamelessly hardcore right. Just like shoving it down your throat, like, yeah, you know, worst case scenario, Obama wins again. You know, you're just sitting there like, what? I'm listening, but you know, you have these corporations that just, you know, whether that's universities on one side or, you know, these private you know, companies over on the other side, just, hey, if you're here and you're one of ours, you're a sheep, right? So we're gonna shove this down your throat and go out there and go get them.
And you know what that really leads back to? Like you said, it's like money. It's like, you know, having a certain amount of money, being in a certain tax bracket, business, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like this guy is good for our business. This side is good for our business. Okay, these guys, they're giving education grants. You know what I'm saying? So that's why academia is like that. I mean,
and my thing is too, I just want to add one more thing and then we can like move on.
Yeah,
but even
for sure.
in those two-party systems, you have them going at each other. Like you have the progressives and the conservatives. Like with the Democrats, you have, you know, your AOCs versus like the Nancy Pelosi. So even within like that system is issues too. So it's just, once again, we gotta just fix everything regarding that, you know.
And I always tell people this, so we can really leave it at this, because this is a really good one. But like left wing, right wing, it's two wings of the same eagle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's two wings of the same eagle. Their agenda is like it goes hand in hand. Like
yeah, and I'm with you on that 100%. I mean, that's why I try to stay out of it, because to me, they're all kind of full of shit. They're all basically saying the same thing in different ways, and they might say, oh, well, I'm pro this because I know that the voters will like that and I'll get their vote. But at the end of the day, are they really pro that? Usually, no. Usually it's all the same, just different, you know, elephant or a donkey, you know?
Yeah,
You're an elephant or an ass, right?
And those are both shit animals. Why would you want to be either of those?
Right, and it's all about funneling money to these businesses, corporations.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of companies and big businesses, Ellen, what's going on in Ellen world?
Yeah, she's dragged, man. Dragged. And my thing about that is, you know, everybody's been talking about this. She's been treating her workers like very bad. It's been a toxic environment. I even read articles saying that she doesn't even like allow them to like speak to her when she's on set, which is very fucked up because she has this personality like, man, she's so talkable, lovable, like all inclusive. Right, and you find out like that's not what it is. You know, it's just like a show, or for show, a front for us. You know, it's kind of sad because the people that actually work for you is the reason why your business is like performing so well, because they're putting in the work. You know, the grunt work and stuff that people don't want to do. You know, so you should be treating them like with utmost respect and like at least having a conversation with them. Hey, you know, how's it going? Thanks for like work when you like whatever. It just show like some appreciation. And the fact that she's not, it's like disheartening. So I don't feel bad for her like at all, in my opinion.
Yo,
One thing I'll say about it is, I believe one of her co-hosts, I believe it's the black guy that's on there, usually does like all the dancing. Not so long ago, I think he was like being interviewed. And he was like, well, of course, like that's our guy. He was mentioning, he was like, yeah, once you're at the top, notice some people in Hollywood try to put her down. So apparently, like she had like other people. I think like she had like Michael Strahan on, and because of that, Kelly Ripa got mad. So supposedly, like her and then like a lot of other people in Hollywood don't like her. So she's trying to, I guess her team's trying to say it's like a ploy to take them down. And supposedly even like a lot of the issues were mainly with like 3 producers and not her. But at the end of it, she's the head of the snake. So she obviously knew what was going on at some point.
Yeah, she's still in control, definitely.
yo, I got a crazy ass theory on Ellen that I like peeped like it's been out for like a couple months. It was like right kind of when the like when the lockdowns and shit happened and like real serious or whatever. But so like these people like I guess they were like watching her show and like saw like her and Oprah because they're like supposedly like going through like some shit like behind the scenes that no one really knows about. Because supposedly, like, the elites are about to get not the elites. I'm talking about Hollywood is about to get, like, super exposed for, like, all kind of, like, the Epstein shit, like, with all that going on. But supposedly, like people of the likes of, like, Ellen, like, Oprah, shit like that, they're on house arrest. So that's the reason why, like, we're still on house arrest in a way, because they can't like be like in the studio. That's why they're still doing shit like at their home and like their shows. Like, dude, like they can go to the studios if they want to. You know what I mean? It's not like that whole place is like like just how we go to the grocery store.
Contaminated.
But like contaminated. But they're still like like doing the at home shows, pushing that shit real hard. Have y'all noticed like how like all the like TV stuff, like all the entertainment, like everyone's like they've like came around to like the stay at home thing, and it's like it's been like, okay, well when things do let back up or anything, it's like nah, we're here and we're here for good. It's like that. Like I saw these pictures with like these people there like zoomed in, like she had like she was like sitting on her couch, she has like an ankle monitor on her and Oprah. Like, dude, it's all kind of crazy shit. Mike, you could probably even like Google like Ellen house arrest, and like this shit will like pop up, dude. Like it's like crazy. Like it's so weird how sleuthy people are. You know what I'm saying? Like they figured this type of shit out.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It seems plausible though, man.
It seems plausible. You look at so right when I Google that, USA Today fact check: Ellen, Oprah, many others are not under house arrest.
See, it's like okay,
but it's
dude,
also very on the nose. With like, actually, all of the people that we just named are good. They're not, they're good. They're good. It's like very specific.
See, that's a little, like you said, it's a little too on the nose, man. Like that's.
It's conceivable, yeah. And I mean, when you think about the spread, not only of COVID, but also the spread of, COVID misinformation, how does that happen? The media. We talked about that episode, I think it was 29, where, I mean, the media is everything. That's the one who pushes agendas. That's the entity that the media, the entities, I guess, that really can sway everybody's public perception. Perception's reality. So, hey, here's the situation. So if they say, hey, nothing to see here, I mean, it's a fun theory, but I mean, that didn't really explain like the rest of the world's complicity and, like, all right, well, America's talk shows circuit is challenged by house arrests. So let's just play along,
That's why, man, like journalists and the newspapers should get more love, because that's where information is coming from. Like journalists are out there putting in like the real work, and they never get credit for that, So,
dude, newspapers, like the real news is in newspapers.
Yeah.
Still.
Right. Exactly.
Like it's so weird. Like those are where the real reporters are. They're still like in print.
Right. And it's going out of business, unfortunately, because nobody reads newspapers anymore.
Because everything is getting sensationalized.
Right.
It's all clickbaity. As soon as you see headline porn, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
Yeah.
100% the headline porn,
and
Gary. Like
Chance
it's,
and Chance also brought up a good point too. You had mentioned as far as like, hey, like how come no one's in the studio? One thing with that is like if we have teams and leagues in a bubble able to be in sporting events, like we're watching the NBA now, you'd figure there's a way that Hollywood, considering how much money they're making, there should be a way where they can continue filming in their studios and they have whole warehouses and WB, Warner Bros Towers. You figure they can at least isolate everybody that's on the set, have the producers go in, start filming, have editors editing, and you can still have actors do their thing by coming in and getting tested. I just don't see how all of a sudden Hollywood's on lock as well.
Yeah, Hollywood runs the world too. You know what I mean?
Well,
We know that
they're
like they
on
have a
lock.
big hand in a lot of things, so they should be able to,
I can see, like studio productions that have like a consistent staff. Like if you were to do it that way and say, all right, we're all basically going to quarantine here, the challenges with that is, having access to the daily test. I still don't know how the NBA just has an infinite amount of tests. I'll take it though. Hey, I'm loving sports, but you'd have to be able to produce that. You'd have to be able to say, basically only this staff, like, because you couldn't go really have the hundreds of different crew members and all that, like be in and out and, possibly help spread that, that part I get. But to your point, I mean, if it's a smaller production, it's going to say, hey, this same staff handles these same couple of shows, that gives people jobs, gives people that live studio time. So, I mean, I guess it's a different thing, though, for them to kind of agree. I guess for sports, they have that contract that, you might just lose it if you can't do it. You can't really phone in from home for football,
When you're in film, though, I mean, you're kind of under a contract, and usually, like, films, they, depending on, the film, like, they usually shoot for anywhere from, like, 2 weeks to, like, 2 months, and it's usually in the same studio. I'm pretty sure they, move shit around and shoot on location, shit like that. But, I mean, if the studio heads, if everyone else, if the entire world, like sports, I mean, everyone else is, like, kind of adjusting to the shit, why really isn't Hollywood? It's kind of, I mean, the movies kind of stopping and everything like that, even, being filmed and shit like that. It's just kind of, it's just kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they all at home, but everyone else kind of, and I mean, I don't know. Like, like you said, it's a fun theory, but
it's fun. And I mean, it's very theoretical because, I mean, those are the people that run the country,
right?
Like, Hollywood runs the country. I don't care what anybody says. Hollywood, and
it does.
That's where the agendas are created,
I mean, you mentioned America's a propaganda machine, so Hollywood is the propaganda.
I mean, those are the elites, like the fucking, the Hollywood people. Those are the elites, outside of the like money families and political dynasties and shit like that. But those are the guys with all the bank. I mean, why do we pay Tom Cruise $200 million to like ride a motorcycle, like just like he was doing like 30 fucking years ago? You know what I'm saying? Why are we still paying that guy that shit? I don't know, man.
They have the money. That's the economic, the economics behind it. They have the money. They're basically saying, all right, you contribute this percentage of our success to the movie selling. It's going to make, millions, billions. So, but yeah, I mean, it is an interesting theory, movies pause. I mean, I get, the logistics behind it, different crew members and, but I mean, you'd think that shows would be a little bit more creative, to your point.
Right. Especially studio shows. Sure. Like, because then it's like, oh, we can like shoot for fucking 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? 2 episodes a day. Like, let's, get it in and then get it out. Y'all go do something else. Then all those, like, those crew, those, the actors, like, they're getting their bank right then and there. And so they can like quarantine for 2 weeks and then come back and do another job. You know what I'm saying? If that's what it takes. I don't know. I'd be a fucking great Hollywood exec.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. That's the thing is I've come to kind of think of it this way, right? I mean, COVID, whether it's a super duper version of a flu or not, what do we know about the flu? It's, it comes in seasons. It doesn't really go away. So
right.
I don't know if COVID ever really goes away. Maybe it's one of those things that you get an annual vaccine just because, just like flu, it's not like if you get the flu one time, you're good. You'll never need it. You'll never get it again. No, you might get the flu again, So reason I say all this is I don't know how long this goes on. It essentially could be a part of our lives, indefinitely.
Yo, speaking of COVID, and it's just real quick. I'm watching the Boston-Miami game on mute or whatever, and someone, damn, I can't really tell who it was, but someone on the Heat got like a cut or whatever, like on their finger, and they like showed him like, kind of like patching him up with the little thing or whatever, but this thing was right back on the floor. Like they're not too worried about COVID on this shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, they get tested daily. If you pass, you play. If you don't, you don't play. You get quarantined. They isolate you for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but he got cut on the floor. They put this dude right back in. They didn't give him a Band-Aid or nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, it also doesn't pass through that manner, I don't think. I mean,
at least it's not HIV, so they should be all right.
Yeah, like Karl Malone, he didn't want to play with Magic and shit.
Speaking of sports, man, all that, like, how do y'all feel about The Rock buying the XFL? Y'all think that's
man, third time's a charm. The Rock is the fucking people's champ. He's the most entertaining fucking dude like ever. Like, I mean, shit. I mean, in movies and in wrestling and shit like that. I think he can really. I think that he can. It's real life Ballers. You ever seen that show Ballers?
Yeah, that's what
it is. Yeah, it actually is.
So, like, I think that it's gonna be actually really successful because Vince trying to be Vince like that. Like football wasn't his game. You know what I'm saying? Like The Rock, like he was masterful in football. In college and fucking. Like, I mean, he's very knowledgeable still. And with the wrestling aspect of it, I think it's going to be real good. And I think maybe they even get to keep the same teams and shit now since it's not such a big gap in between the seasons and shit.
Right. I think it'll be a good idea too, man. Like, I respect Dwayne Johnson a lot because he works very hard, extremely hard. I'm a big wrestling fan, so of course, like, The Rock, people's champ, like I know him from that. And then his Miami days, the U. But, all in all, he's a black man, and you know how I feel about that, man. I'm 100% like supporting that. And I just hope that like everything's done the right way because XFL is fun. It's a fun thing to watch, So I guess time will tell how that actually goes, but I'm excited for it personally.
$15 million is all it really cost him.
Hey, man.
How much of a percentage is it? Is it the whole thing?
So I know it's not done deal yet, but this report from Pro Football Talk says the XFL had no other qualified bids beyond The Rock's $15 million bid, which is very low. I mean, $15 million.
Yeah, for entire that was a favor from Vince.
I mean, pretty much.
That was a favor from Vince because The Rock, fucking 20 years ago, The Rock saved, like, The Rock along with Stone Cold and, all the fucking greats from the Attitude Era. But The Rock kind of single-handedly saved Vince after Stone Cold got hurt. You know what I mean? That's like he stepped in and he
kept it
that's
alive.
A favor from him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, for the next 2 years, dude, that shit was on fucking fire. You know what I mean?
98, like that whole 98, yeah.
Dude, that, like, from, like, it was like late 99 to like 2001 2001 is when he got suspended when he did the Scorpion King and shit like that after WrestleMania. So for like 2 solid years he like saved Vince's ass, dude, and like that was like probably the most money that company ever made.
Yeah, how do you feel about it, Gerry? Him like purchasing everything?
Him purchasing it, I think it's dope because it's going to allow the Houston Roughnecks to get one more stint in trying to get a ring. One, trying to localize it, but I think the biggest thing too is the league was fun. Like people were forgetting the NFL aspect. The NFL doesn't have a G League or or a farm system like MLB or NBA. So there were several times where they were discussing like, hey, like this could be that funnel for a lot of these guys who didn't make it to then be able to hop in. And not just that, but if they can monetize it or find a way to kind of partner with the NFL, it could really be a moneymaker. And it was actually doing well up until COVID. So I think that was smart by him.
That's the worst part of all this. I mean, right when it starts to pick up, all COVID hits. And I mean, I know that's the case for a lot, not just XFL, but right when it starts working, boom, that's whenever all this happens, But I think, it really was starting to pick up momentum. I went to a game, I guess the last week that it was going on. Turns out one of the opposing players actually had COVID and tested positive for it, after the fact. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you, Gary. I think they need to make it part of the league, part of the farm system, instead of, you can actually develop players. So you don't go, play football in college, get yourself into the league, and then let's say you're just playing for 2-3 years and you're done. If you're a high school hero but not good enough to succeed at the league level, why not use the XFL as a developmental league, and leak right into the NFL, two-way contracts, just the way the NBA does. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there, and I think The Rock, being as smart and as marketable as he is, can find a way to make the most out of it.
Hey, man, Cap and Antonio Brown, I'm telling you, you're going to take over, man, XFL.
Do you think that, something like the NFL having a farm system or something would kind of kill the NAACP? I mean, not the NAACP, the NCAA, the NCAA, because only California players are getting paid and shit like that. So, you know what I mean? Like they can get paid as well as develop, So do you think that will kind of kill the NCAA?
Well, yeah, I don't think it would kill it. I think you'd still have, people would still prefer to go play, for the U, or play for, Alabama instead of playing for the Houston Roughnecks. You know what I mean? Like they would still rather have those glory years and win a national championship, unless the XFL is paying people major contracts, major money. But you need to have the viewership. You need to sell the merchandise. You need to have the whole economy tied to it that they don't have yet. But I think if anybody can do that, it would be somebody like The Rock. He should be president.
Right. My thing is just more options too.
Right. I was gonna say it's more of an option.
Yeah.
That's what I appreciate. They're not stuck with, hey, I have to do this or I have to do this.
And not even that, but the NBA found a way to make that perfect medium where you have those Lonzos or Zions who are one and done. They go to a big name school like UCLA, Duke. But then you also have the other guys, even LaMelo, who goes overseas. It's that same kind of interaction where you can still have a college guy go to a big name school like USC, or Alabama, and to have that namesake. But then, maybe, of course, you can't be a Maurice Claret and be a one and done in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So you have to do at least 2 years. But say if that guy doesn't want to do that, he wants to do 1 year at college, or be you know what, I'm going to do my 2 years, in the XFL, ball out, and then get picked up by a team and still get paid. So the NBA has found a way to master that. I feel like The Rock bought it at a perfect time, because maybe this could be the time to really get that economy going, where you can kind of figure out a way where every company can make money off of it.
We all eat mentality.
Right.
Yeah, and anybody can do it. The Rock.
Is there any word on how the NFL is going to go about with fans?
No, me and Mike was just talking about that actually.
They've been quiet.
Well, Odell Beckham hasn't been quiet. Yeah, he's been talking.
They're always snitching and doing some dumb shit.
Yeah, trying to stay in the limelight. But I don't know, man. I think the NFL actually, in my opinion, it's not factual, I'm about to say, but I think they're actually trying to do the best that they actually can with keeping everybody safe. Of course, I don't know how the bubble system's going to actually work within them, because, NBA has been doing this shit perfectly. If anything, everybody should lead. They should take their lead with everything, especially the MLB. But, that's neither here or there. But I feel like, NFL should still continue to start. They're getting paid billions of fucking dollars. You know what I'm saying? You got people like us that's out here, not getting paid much money, like that. So, you shouldn't be complaining about starting back up or not wanting to play again, in my opinion.
NFL's
so weird. Yeah, I mean, with all that, they haven't really talked about an actual bubble. I think they'll still be traveling from market to market. Now, I think you learn from the way baseball did it, because they don't seem to have, and again, these are all allegations. I don't know how much of it's been confirmed, but you keep hearing about them being kind of laissez-faire, like just out and about, not really paying attention to rules and not really following the protocol, to where the league is saying, hey, if we have more cases and it keeps going, we're going to shut it down. It's like, dude, you have to set the protocol, though. You have to set the example. You have to lead from the top, And I mean, I haven't seen much really at all on Goodell mentioning what precautions they're going to actually take, but they're eliminating the preseason. You see different equipment manufacturers coming out with new innovative, like face shields and things like that. And I mean, when you do travel to a certain extent, you do stay in a bubble NFL, you don't really get that same amount of time to go out and about and kind of lure kind of walk around the way that you would with baseball. Football, you're there the night before, doing your walkthroughs and all that. The second the game's over, you shower and you're right back on the jet home, Now, what they do when they get home, that's where, they could go out and about and all that when they're on their own. But, I think there's ways to try to at least mitigate the risks for sure. I don't know if they can, eliminate it entirely, though.
Yeah, no, facts, Mike. I agree. Some people are going to end up catching it still. I mean.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I mean, you see some players that are opting out before, just not even wanting to really roll the dice, which is fine, with their families, life,
Right.
Family first, right? And then you see people that actually get it, or if you're Stafford, false positives, says you have it, you don't. But,
Right.
You'll sit out, follow the protocol. They do have a COVID IR, basically where if you go on the COVID list, they'll be able to kind of fluctuate and not have to worry about, roster management and whatnot. But it's going to be interesting. I think the economics will be interesting in all the leagues because, the salary caps are going to take major hits because of the lack of revenue brought in this year without, fans, concessions, merchandise sales, and all that. So
Yeah, people don't realize how much those fried chicken nuggets cost. What is it? Yeah, the chicken tenders, paying $20 for tenders and a Coke.
A slice of raw chicken with a freaking quarter pound of breading. That's what that shit is.
But positive intent, man.
Breading into the ranch. You're not eating chicken, you're eating breading at that point.
Right. But yeah, positive intent, man. I think they'll do as best as they can as far as keeping everybody safe.
Speaking of sports, we kind of danced around it last time, but we didn't get into the nitty gritty. Is Tyson versus Roy Jones? Jock wanted to bring it back. Jock had to miss last week, but you wanted to bring it back to the forefront because you were kind of curious about the rule change there.
Right. And just first and foremost, I'm excited like everybody else to see them actually fight. I just hope they don't really seriously hurt each other. But anyway, it's neither here or there. But as far as the actual rule changing, so from what I was reading today, they can't knock each other out, no KOs. And this one that took me for a loop, it's not going to be anybody that's actually no judges scoring the actual match. So, like, if it's nobody scoring it, if it's nobody scoring it, so, like, how are we going to, like, choose, like, actual winner, So I'm just kind of confused on that. And then I was watching an interview with Mike Tyson from TMZ, and dude was like, hey, so are we going to see a knockout? And Mike Tyson was like, well, I'm always looking for it, so if it presents itself, like, it's going to happen pretty much, but then that goes against the rules. And so that allows me to believe that, like, Mike Tyson's a killer, bro. We all know that. When he's in the ring, it's a different person. So I think once they're in the ring, those glory days are going to start coming back in. And, once he hits them, like, oh, shit, I still got it.
Y'all really think Mike Tyson going to follow the rules?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, like, I think something's going to switch.
Wait, yeah, Mike not following the rules. What?
Right. Yeah, so I think something's going to switch in his head. He's going to black out probably. And then one of them going to wake up, and then somebody's going to be in a stretcher or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what I don't want to see because, like, I respect both of them a lot. I respect Mike, of course, and Roy Jones. I don't want to see nobody, like, end up in the hospital, like, seriously hurt. And then on that end, I don't want to see people hyping them up to where they're going to actually, like, go fight younger people because they think, oh, I still got it. And they end up really getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is how I feel about it,
No, you're right. Yeah, Tyson might get
Are there any more fights on the card?
Huh?
Are there any more fights on the card outside of Nate Robinson and Jake Paul or whatever?
Oh, yeah. That's all I know. But, I mean, that shit's irrelevant. We all just here for Mike Tyson and Roy Jones,
Yeah.
I still do want to see Nate knock him out, though.
Yeah.
I want to see him knock out.
Yeah, so he gonna punch him like the little dude on Friday After Next. He's like, he jumps over and punches the nigga at the grandma's house.
I'll tell you this though, I did that thing for the Big Three last year where I was courtside, you know, getting photos and all that. And Nate Robinson was in Big Three. Hey, Nate Robinson's our height, man. Not Chance's height, but everybody else on this call, Nate Robinson's about our size. So I mean, whatever Mr. Paul's got on him, like he's gonna have the reach. So I mean, even though Nate Robinson's that pro athlete, he's gonna have to get in there and you have to be hissing at him quick.
Yeah, so like, yeah, my thing on the Mike Tyson thing. So how are we gonna pick a winner if it's nobody judging it or scoring it? How's it gonna work?
I think it would be kind of fun if like they kind of just leave it up to the eye test, or just have kind of. I guarantee you, a hardcore boxing fan is gonna be at home, is gonna hop on Twitter like, "Hey, I have the actual scorecard," you know, like with each punch and hit. But it'll be kind of fun, just kind of squirt at home with friends.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that would be dope. If we could just like, if they like come up with like scorecards and they just be like, oh, okay, like we just print this shit out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, when you go golf, I mean, you know, on the same thing, got that shit of paper, logging it. So the same thing if they can do it for boxing.
And my thing is like, what does it look like going forward? Because I know Mike Tyson said this is going to be a Legends League. So like, how many other people are going to step up and fight after this? Because I know it's not going to be a one and done type thing. Because people think they still have it at older ages. Because you have your, you know, your George Foremans and Larry Holmes.
What if he went back out there?
George Foreman?
Oh, no.
No. What I'm saying is like George Foreman,
Yeah,
Larry Holmes, they came back later in their career and like it was successful.
Right.
George Foreman won. Larry Holmes,
Looking like Larry Holmes, flat BNC.
Larry Holmes actually fought Mike Tyson and didn't do bad. Y'all remember that? He fought a young Mike Tyson in his prime and he didn't get knocked out instantly.
That's why Pac said that shit.
Larry Holmes, Flavio is sick.
Niggas looking like
Everybody not George Foreman or Larry Holmes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Hey, George Foreman was still boxing when he had the grill and shit out. I remember that shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
Lean. He kept adding different adjectives to it after a while, though. It's just the lean, mean, grilling machine.
Fighting
Then it was like lean, mean, fat reducing, grilling,
You know what?
keeping home under the sink machine. Like, man, quit acting
Yeah,
adjectives.
marketing, man.
It may be wild actually, but speaking of like Larry Holmes, I think Larry Holmes in his prime would have gave Mike in his prime like a run for his money possibly.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I ain't watched him in.
Bulldog.
Larry Holmes was bad. Larry Holmes was a bad dude though. He was nice. He held the championship for 5 years, bro. From 1978 to 83. Like that's a long time consistently. Like
We'll have to have a don't at me boxing debate.
with
but
JB.
I want to argue. We should get JB on. I mean, he'd be able to speak through all the mechanics of it. But
Hey, I'd knock Larry Holmes' old ass out.
I have some questions about GOAT. You know, who's the boxing GOAT? I feel like it's up for it's not as clear cut as everybody would make it out to be.
It's the greatest, man. Ali.
Hey, we'll have a don't at me
debatable.
debate on that one.
yeah.
Who you think it is? Rocky?
Rocky, nah,
Not the real one.
Yeah, I know.
nah. We'll save it. We'll
Balboa.
save it. So that's everything on the docket this week. So make sure y'all tune in next week.
I got one more thing I want to say too, man. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but the thing that happened in Lebanon, we're at Lebanon today with the explosion. So it was some explosion today that happened like in one of their warehouses where they keep fireworks, and it killed like a lot of people out there in that city, you know, in Beirut, Lebanon.
Beirut.
So yeah, so like, you know, prayers go out to everybody out there because it's very unfortunate how it happened. Because you imagine you just eating dinner, you walking and then like looking explosion, you know. So if you guys can like look it up too, Mike. I don't know if you want to pull it up right now, Mike. It's actually.
I saw it. Yeah, people were.
It covered like over 2 miles in radius. Yeah.
People were getting hit
Wow.
on balconies. Like it was pretty rough. I mean, I'm sure if you scroll down Instagram, by the time people are listening to this, they'll see a lot of that.
Let's
but-
see, it's everywhere.
Wait, a 2 mile radius explosion?
Yeah, we don't know what the cause of it is yet, but it's
Like 2 miles away, people dying still. Yeah.
What
It's
the?
crazy.
Yo, that sounds like some shit.
But yeah, so prayers out to Lebanon right now.
For real, man.
Very unfortunate.
Woo.
Prayers indeed. You know, be grateful for what you have. You know, But yeah, on that note, make it lighthearted. We're grateful for y'all listening. Make sure you subscribe, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Chance, you got the lingo down. What do they have to do?
Oh, like, comment, share, subscribe.
There you go. So do all of that. Check us out on YouTube. Of course, also look at the website, therep.network. We got a bunch of new merch on there. We got, all of our pages are updated and whatnot. It's a clean site. We haven't added our bios yet. We're going to get into that. Jock, I know you had some heat coming out with the Pierre style too.
Yeah, facts. I got some masks coming out this week, actually. Actually, tomorrow I should be here. So stay lookout for that. I'm excited. It's going to be some dope material, breathable and real protective. So, yeah, thanks for the support, everybody. And, once again, we got everything else on there too. The Don't Have Me shirts, the Evolve fashion, everything. So just check it out, guys, when you get a chance.
We gotta get the hats.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. Catch us next week. Don't at me. Peace.